So the command from Lisa Boggs as the drivers get their cue to fire up the engines on board their Firestone Indy Light Delaras. Let's take a look at the starting lineup as Carlos Munoz going off second today. Same spot he'll start Sunday in the 97th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race. He'll be carrying the onboard camera during today's Freedom 100 coverage. You see the front row, Sage Karam, with an average speed of 189.243 miles an hour, will be on pole leading the field to the green flag. And of course, we told you about Carlos Munoz, and Davey, you like Carlos a lot.
Carlos is the guy right now. I mean, he can be beat. This is an oval, first run of the year, so we'll see what he has.
Well, you talk about a guy with the experience. Peter Dempsey returns, as Dempsey, who started 12th, he finished 15th the last year, Joseph, and Peter Dempsey desperately wanted a good finish here as he is looking for the championship in 2013.
Peter's a very strong driver, and you know what? I think he's got a good car this time around, so I'm excited to watch what he does. He has a lot more patience this year. He could be a guy to watch as well.
Gabby Chavez not off to a bad start, Davey. He'll go off on the outside of row number 2.
Another one of Schmidt's cars. Schmidt has 4 of them total in this race, Mike, and he has good odds of winning as well with that many cars in the field.
Back-to-back podiums for Chavez at both Barber and Long Beach. As we move to row number 3 on the inside, Jack Hawksworth. And Davey, here's a guy who needs a little redemption after causing that early incident at Long Beach and taking himself and Zach Beach out of it.
And himself out of the points championship lead. I mean, so he had a huge mistake. He wants to come back, have a better race, but like I said, this is going to be a challenge. He is one of the rookies.
Beach on the outside, an interesting pairing there in row number 3. In row number 4, Juan Pablo Garcia, one of the veterans coming back in this event last year. He started 17th, he finished 11th. Next to him, the young man, Joseph, who you think could wind up in victory lane in an upset, making his first start in the Firestone Indy Light Series.
Could be the guy. Kyle's running the 67 car. I've run it all year. Maybe it'll bring us some luck.
So Kyle O'Gara on the outside of row number 4. In row 5, Chase Austin. Davey, he thought he was going to be able to run the 500. That deal kind of went away, but now here Chase Austin is back in the Freedom 100.
Well, he for sure wanted to be at this racetrack. He got it done in an Indy Lights car this year.
Started 16th, finished 10th here in 2012. Jorge Goncalves will be on the outside of row number 5 after qualifying at 186.183 miles an hour. Yet another newcomer to the Firestone Indy Light Series. He was pouring milk over his head a couple of weeks ago after winning the Purdue Grand Prix in both karts and the electric vehicles. We're talking about the Purdue sophomore, the rookie Jimmy Simpson. And Davey, I can only imagine what it's like as we watch both the Pro Mazda cars pacing the field out in front and one of the F2000 cars. Is the road to Indy, the Mazda road to Indy, Davey, in full bloom here throughout central Indiana this race weekend.
And it's great to give them a little exposure. The white car is a Formula 2000. That's where it all starts when you're young, 15, 16 years old. And then you move into the Formula Mazda, which is right next to it, the blue car. And then the Indy Light Series that we're going to have a great time watching. Then on into the IndyCar Series.
Joseph, you can talk firsthand about climbing the ladder. It works.
The Mazda Road to Indy is absolutely the best ladder out there right now, and it worked for me, and it's worked for so many guys in IndyCar. You look at James Hinchcliffe, J.R. Hildebrand, Marco Andretti. The list goes on of guys that have made that step into IndyCar, and they've had the right training. Hinchcliffe even, he's won 2 races this year. You want to ask about if he got good training in the light system and in the Mazda Road to Indy. I think it proves it absolutely that he's done it well in IndyCar now.
As the drivers begin to warm up the tires a bit, time for your do's and don'ts for the Freedom 100.
Well, the first thing, Mike, is the cars. They haven't been on track all week, right? I mean, so they got to get a feel for these race cars. They got very short practice yesterday because of the rain. So don't be aggressive in the start. Get the start in underneath your belt and feel what it's going to do before you take off. And it's the first oval race for these guys. No mistakes here. They're going very fast. As Joseph can tell you, this is the fastest they're ever going to be. No mistakes, because all there is to hit is a hard wall on the outside. And Mike, as I always say, no pit stops in this race, so take care of your tires. You have to complete all the laps with the tires that you have on these race cars. So at the end, you want to be strong, so take care of those tires.
And Joseph, when Davey says limited practice, a total between all the drivers participating, a total of 194 practice laps, as we've got the 22 car of Jimmy Simpson, who was set to start 11th off the track during the pace lap.
It looks like cold tires there. Case of cold tires.
Yeah, bit him just a bit, and as we may, here he is at the back of the field, set to start 11th, trying to warm him up a bit. And Joseph, what happened there?
You know, he just got on the throttle a little too quick. He's in the back there. Like we've mentioned, this is a cold racetrack. Jimmy's got very little experience in the Indy Lights cars, and they can bite you. They can turn around on you quick. I've seen that happen in the best. It definitely gets away from me sometimes.
Well, it was either that or their grass was a little long right in that area.
He needed to
cut it down.
He wanted to
just a little bit, make it look just a little better.
Okay, so he is going to get up ahead of steam and join the other 10 cars as they come through turn number 3. And Joseph, as we mentioned, not a lot of practice, and it shows right there, I guess, with Jimmy Simpson. And the nerves are going to be kicking in just a bit. Mazda Road to Indy on-board camera with our championship leader, Carlos Munoz. Keep in mind, he became the youngest front-row qualifier for the Indianapolis 500 since Rex Mays in 1935 at age 21. He will start on the outside. It is Sage Karam from Nazareth, Pennsylvania, set to lead the field to the green flag.
This is a nice formation.
Really is. Really is on a beautiful day at the world's greatest race course. Fans will come to their feet as the drivers wait, and the green flag is out. Davey, this is a great start.
There it is, great start, actually. Sage, he wants that inside line, doesn't he? Oh, look at the Velarde car.
That's Peter Dempsey.
Yeah, Peter Dempsey, who we talked about earlier. Nice move there, Joseph, to go from 3rd to 2nd.
Absolutely. You know, he's an aggressive guy, and he's more calculated now. He's always been too aggressive, but I think he's going to be strong this race.
Okay, so he snookered Munoz just a bit there.
And you see Munoz, he's putting that wheel all the way under the white line. He's been doing that in an Indy car, actually, and it's been scaring people, so we'll see if that bites him today.
Okay, so Munoz will drop back to 3rd as we watch Hawksworth. Now, keep in mind, Hawksworth desperately, Davey, trying to get himself back into the championship hunt. He needs a good finish here, Davey.
Well, he really needs to win. I mean, he needs to start getting some wins back under his belt. He knows how to do it. He's making a nice run right around, running side by side, actually.
With Kyle O'Gara.
Kyle O'Gara, looking good as well.
Yep, so once again, Munoz now, Joseph, he's going to look to the inside, right along the inside wall.
That's a strong move. I think you're going to see this all day. Guys are going to be passing inside turn 1, like left and right.
Joseph, is the slingshot effect down the straightaway, is it as, I guess, important, or is it as pervasive as we see with the Indy cars?
It's crucial. It's very, very big in the Indy Lights car, and I'll tell you what's helping it is these cool temperatures. When it gets very cool out here, it's really easy to draft up on guys, and it creates a huge hole behind you. So they've got a ton of drag coming off that car, and it's able to help them slingshot fast.
How about O'Gara? He has moved his way up to the 4th. He's put pressure on Dempsey right now for 3rd.
Well, we've got a great race right now. Top 2 cars. Sage Karam, who started on, and got a spin.
That's it.
Stay off the wall. Oh, that's Kyle O'Gara.
Maybe a little bit too much too soon, unfortunately, but he was looking good.
Absolutely. And the shaming thing about that, you saw him coming. He was very quick. Probably just got a little too aggressive early, but man, he was quick right off the start.
Oh, how unfortunate. How unfortunate. Don't know until we see the replay. Davey, I don't think he was touched by another car.
No, he just lost it, Mike, but no real super suspension damage. But you can see just being aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, he started back, got underneath that white line, and they feel so good. I mean, as racing drivers, we can both tell you, when you're out there, sometimes the cars feel so good, and they feel like you're invincible. They're just going to go around there. But when they step out, you hope you could always catch it. Sometimes you can't. In Kyle's case, he definitely didn't catch it this time.
And let's remind everyone, Joseph, this is happening at nearly 190 miles an hour. It's not like this is a light tap of the wall.
That's a fast hit. You know, it's not as, it might not look that fast, but dang, they're going quick out there. And that's a tough hit, but I think he'll be okay. It looks like he hit it square on, so no problem.
Well, here is Kyle O'Gara and Joseph, kind of interesting because you were talking about the line as we watched Munoz and how low he goes in the turn, and it looked like O'Gara was running almost an identical line.
That's exactly what I thought would happen to Munoz. What you saw there with Kyle is the trouble thing that can happen when you dip too low behind that white line. And really it bit Kyle there, and I have not seen Kyle do that, so I wasn't expecting it to happen to him. But with the cool conditions, like Davey was saying, the cars are working so well, almost too well, that maybe that just pushed to the inside for him there, and he didn't expect the thing to grip up so much in the mid-corner.
Well, as we mentioned, Moynihan Williams, the realtor that is sponsoring this, had bought tickets for the entire Roncalli school population. Rides with our championship leader, Carlos Munoz. Guys, take a look. Tell me what you think of the start.
Well, first, I think it was a great start. I mean, they were lined up perfectly. Sometimes you don't see that. The pole sitter took off as he's supposed to. He earned that position. But then he brought that Velarde car, Dempsey, with him. But he doesn't keep that second spot for very long. But I think it was a good start by the leaders.
Joseph, what do you think?
Yeah, Sage did a nice job. The formation, again, it was so beautiful. He did a great job.
Very tight. Really a tight formation.
Very, very tight. And you see even Munoz there right in turn 1. He's already dipping that wheel underneath. And look at him again.
Wow.
He's not scared of it. And he's got to be careful because the same thing that happened to Kyle will happen to him if he gets too far down there.
Not yet touching 60 degrees.
It's a gorgeous, look how gorgeous that picture is. It looks amazing.
It's a perfect day, absolutely perfect, and the fans are enjoying Carb Day, no doubt about it. But Davey, if we compare it to last year, we're 35 degrees cooler than we were a year ago.
And one thing, Mike, just to know, if the temperature's below 50 degrees, you can't run.
Yeah. Let's go to Jake Query. Jake?
Kyle, it's good to see that you're out and you're okay, but what happened on the spin?
I just had a big run on, I think it was a 5-car, Peter Dempsey. I was coming through 3 and I had a big run. I went low on him going into 4. Got a little bit below the white line and caught a bad wind off of his car. Really sucks for the Schmidt-Peterson team. We've been really strong all month, moving through the field really well. Just very disappointed right now. Disappointed in myself, and hopefully we'll see him again this season.
A lot of fans here, a lot of your classmates from Indianapolis, Roncalli High School. With that, did it come a pressure, and did it elevate the disappointment, obviously, knowing how many were here?
Definitely elevated the disappointment, but all the pressure that was on me was from myself. Everybody's been really relaxed this month, and just disappointed.
It was fun to watch you for those few laps. You were aggressive, obviously. I'm assuming it was fun up to that point.
Yeah, we had a really good car. We were coming to the front, but we'll come back.
It's Kyle O'Gara, guys.
Well, he calls Beech Grove his home. Of course, that's the Indianapolis area here. And as we mentioned, Roncalli High School. He's got to put this behind him, maybe, and graduate high school.
Tomorrow, yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. So what a disappointing graduation, though. I don't know if he can pick a smile up or not.
Yeah, well, it may take a while as we get set to bring him back to the line. Green flag is out. And Joseph, right now, Sage Karam, he's on the game. It's a good start, but he's got to hold off Munoz.
He's looking super strong. You know, these temperatures are incredible. I think he's setting really good. He knows that he's got to stay up front. The key to this race is not getting out of the lead, and that's really important. You get past, you want to pass them right back, and I think that's what Sage's strategy is.
Zach Beech would like to go to the outside, has tried it a couple of times on Dempsey, and now Davey's going to do it again.
He looks like he may have a run on him to get up there, but it's a drag race on that back straightaway. Definitely Dempsey has a line going into 3.
So Beech on the outside, and how difficult is it, Joseph, to pass on the outside here in a lights car?
The cool thing about lights cars is it does give you a little more wiggle room. So you see guys running 2x2. That's almost impossible to do in an Indy car. You cannot get away with that around here in that car. But the Indy lights car, it's a little more forgiving. It's a little more narrow. So you can run 2x2, which is really interesting to watch.
Boy, Munoz has it tucked right up under the gearbox. But then, Dave, it almost sounds like he missed a shift. He hit the limiter there.
He hit the limiter, and he's probably in 6th gear, Mike. But when you draft that close, that far down the straightaway into the corner, you're going to hit that limiter. But he's definitely just trying to ride in there, I think. Just trying to
pretty smart.
Take the opportunity, right?
These guys are working together,
Boy,
which is interesting.
They sure are.
Yeah, look at them pushing each other away. They'll let everyone else do the battling. If this goes green the whole time, then they can just have a race by themselves for the finish, which would be great.
Yeah, and so with that, they're pulling away, but now Karam begins to try to pull away just a bit. Okay, now Joseph, explain what it is. You know, you can pull right up on the tail of another car, but how difficult is it to make the transition from there to get around the driver?
Well, they're having a little bit of help today. You know, normally when it's cold, it makes that air pocket even bigger. So you're pushing a big pocket of air behind you, and you're just sucking up like a vacuum with the car behind. And as soon as you pop out, you have all that momentum. You want to stay close to the car, and you're basically using that momentum that you build behind them to work around them. Now, doing it on the outside is a little more tricky, but for sure around this racetrack with this temperature, it's really easy to get a big run.
Well, we're still early on in this race, working lap 9 of the 40 that makes up the Freedom 100. This is a 100-mile race. Now, Davey, I'm curious, is Beech going to push the panic button if those guys out in front, Karam and Munoz, pull too far away?
No way. Not at 9 laps. He's not. He can just cruise right there. Things are going to happen. Even if the yellow doesn't come back out, they will be able to close up the gap. Now, I think that Munoz is doing a good job. I think that he could probably pressure for the lead, but I think he's content where he's at. Another thing when you're drafting like that, Mike, you have to pull out before you hit that rev limiter. Once you hit that rev limiter, you're going to lose your speed and momentum and not be able to get by.
What does it feel like, Joseph, in the car when you hit the rev limiter?
The rev limiter kills your lap, absolutely kills your run. It's really hard to hit. It actually happened to a lot of IndyCar guys during qualifying, and it absolutely destroys your lap time. You normally lose around 5-6 miles per hour, so it's really important to get that momentum back, but it can absolutely kill your run. That's the worst thing you want to happen.
How about 3 wide, through 3? No fear for these young guys, Davey.
Well, I think Dempsey thought better of it. He really had the run on both those guys. You know, he probably would have been better off just to lift a little bit to stay behind one of them rather than try the 3 wide, because what happens, as soon as you get out of the throttle, you know, it's what they say, you lift, you lose around here.
I think Dempsey 2 years ago would have stayed in the throttle.
Right.
And that's the difference with Dempsey nowadays.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, the guys pulling away, Karam and Munoz, where Sage Karam is a rookie from Nazareth, Pennsylvania, driving for the winningest car owner in Firestone Indy Lights history here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Sam Schmidt, the Schmidt-Peterson Curb Agajanian entry out in front. Karam looking for his first win here at the Speedway, and wait for Sage Karam, it would be his first win in Firestone Indy Lights competition. There's Gabby Chavez.
I think Chavez might be a little bit quicker than Veach, and that's what he wanted to do. He wants to get in front of Veach. He said, Veach, push me. I don't want to push you. You get behind me. I'm a quicker car. Maybe we can catch these two guys in front.
Zach Veach running just behind Chavez, as Chavez, the young man from Bogota, Colombian, also in one of the Schmidt cars. Carlos Munoz right now, we don't know if he's quick enough to get around Sage Karam, but that really doesn't matter at this point, does it, Joseph? He's kind of playing it smart out there.
Doesn't matter at all. You know, we've got a long way to go in this race. And really, honestly, I think everyone's playing it real smart. This is how the last two Indy Lights races have gone. They've been really, really tough to strategize everything, and I think they're all just trying to be smart. You can see Munoz here. He's not pushing the issue. He's just pushing around him, trying to stay smart behind him for the beginning of this race.
Yep, so we watch as they head through turn number 3 onto the North Chute, and now they'll make the turn into turn number 4 at the north end of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Sage Karam, with 12 laps complete, is your leader at the Freedom 100. At the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Freedom 100 roars on, and for Jack Hawksworth, working lap 14, Davey, car got high, exiting 1. He winds up, looked like a love tap on the wall, if you will, but there's no such thing here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It looks like he's done some damage to the suspension.
You can see the right front suspension there might bend, and what happens, these guys didn't get a lot of running, as we keep saying, and then they didn't get a run in traffic, and as these tires wear down, you lose a little bit of grip, you get some dirty air, and you have to use more room in the racetrack than just cutting it by inches.
So Jack Hawksworth, who really needed a good finish here to keep himself in the championship conversation. Joseph, meantime, the guys fighting it out up front. Carlos Munoz, just as we went to break, decided he was going to use that cue to take the lead.
Look at this pass. Picture perfect. He got it right underneath him, is absolutely how he needed to do it in the turn 1. And he's been leading this thing the whole time. Now Karam's kind of swapped positions, and he's like, all right, I'll push you now.
So Munoz has gone to P1, but by no means has Sage Karam gone away, as look at Sage pull right up. Great shot from the Mazda Road to Indy onboard camera, looking off that rear wing, Davey, as they head in the 1.
Yeah, that's how close they run, folks. Right there it is. You'll see it all day long, and you can just see the line behind him. Now, in the background back there, you see Zach Veach. He's flirting with that wall, and I mean, he keeps taking a really high exit, and he's the car, that purple and green car, that he needs to be careful as well.
He's currently running in 5th place. Okay, as they set up for 3, Joseph, what is Karam thinking right now as he runs 2nd?
You know, Karam's riding right now, and the big thing, you see him popping out there. He's trying to get some air on his wing on the outside, trying to keep the tires fresh. The problem is when you get too close and you stay right in the gearbox of someone, right as you get into the corner, that starts to wear your front tires out. So Munoz is actually keeping his tires fresher. That's the advantage to being out front, and Karam's not getting that right now.
Carlos Munoz, the Firestone Indy Lights championship leader. Now Gabby Chavez decides he'll take a look to the outside, and it looks like he may try to tuck up under the 8 car. Sage Karam now thinks better of it.
And Chavez has an even more difficult job, you know. Karam, he's got the outside to work with. He's got no one in front of him. But Chavez, he's got 2 guys riding in both lanes. So where is he going to get some clean air? It's very difficult for him to find it. So it's even trickier, I think, being the 3rd guy in the train.
What a season so far for Carlos Munoz, as Michael Andretti is telling everyone this is one of the stars of the future. He has been oh so good, Davey, in this series, but he has had an outstanding month of May. Okay, here month of May rather. Okay, Chase Austin in the blue car back in, and that's almost exactly what we saw Jack Hawksworth do.
Yeah, same thing, bit suspension as well. He's still on the track, but he will be coming in momentarily, and that is the tricky thing down in turn 1 is when you see that bit, that toe link is definitely bent. He's going to fall off the pace pretty rapidly right here.
Yeah, on the right front, you can see how that suspension part is just bowed just a bit. Meantime, the race up front continues, and guys, these 5 guys looks like are going to go at it for the better part of the remaining 22 laps.
Well, these guys just need to make no mistakes. Wait till the end. We're halfway. This lap here will be halfway through the race, Mike. So they just need to hang on.
And these have been your staple runners right here. These are the guys that have been working all season against each other and really a championship contender. So I think they're the smartest guys in the pack for sure, and they know that they still got half a race to go. It's all about a mind game around this place now for them.
Only 1 caution to this point. It came early on when Kyle O'Gara lost control of his safer barrier in turn 4, but we have had 2 other cars come to pit lane with damage after they have tapped the wall. One of them, Jack Hawksworth, is with Jake Query.
Jack, you were very contrite in Long Beach when you said you were too aggressive in turn number 1. Now on the oval, what was it as we moved from the street to the oval? What led to this incident?
I mean, what happened was I got in, I came out of the dirty air on the outside, came into the inside, and just lost my front and ran into the outside retaining wall and the wishbone on the front. But yeah, I mean, it's my fault. I'll take the blame. Sorry for the team, but. You know, I don't really understand what Veach was doing. He was moving up and down the track and, you know, coming from the inside.
Take a look at it here. Walk me through what we're seeing.
Yeah, I've just run high into the wall, white-walled the tyre. But, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of moving around going on in the brake. So I was on the outside, and he comes to the outside, and then, obviously, I've got nowhere to go. So when I dip back in, you know, I'm getting a big dose of, I've suddenly got no wind on my car and no air on my car and no downforce. So it's one of them, you know, work hard and you know, turn this thing around at the end of the day, because, you know, we've got all the tools to do so. And, you know, one bad race, couple of bad races doesn't make a championship. You know, we'll come back and show we can win this thing still. So
Jack Hawksworth, interesting because, guys, keep in mind, Zach Veach as well as Peter Dempsey, 2 of the drivers that were involved in that situation on the streets of Long Beach.
Joseph, in watching the replay, it looked like Zach Veach to me ran a pretty normal line exiting that corner.
You know, and it's difficult for us because we're looking at one corner, one pass through there.
Right.
The big things with drivers, when you're following behind someone, you look for consistency. So when you think a guy's going to run one line and then all of a sudden he deviates that line and starts doing something different than he's normally done, it can be difficult for you as a driver behind. So we didn't get all the info, I think, there, but I know what he's talking about from a driver's side. It is difficult when guys aren't run consistent, but I'm not going to hold anything against Veach. You know, we didn't get to see the whole scenario play out.
22 laps about to be complete as the leaders come off of turn number 4 at the world's greatest race course on a gorgeous Carb Day afternoon. Munoz is the leader, started second. That's the same place he'll start in Sunday's Indianapolis 500. But Davey, he's got a lot of company there behind him. His mirrors are full.
Well, there's 5 guys putting pressure on him, especially those the one right behind him who started on the pole, Sage Karam. He seems to be the toughest right now, and he may have the fastest car. You see him pull right up in the back of the car, Mike, but he doesn't pull out. He doesn't try to pass. He may be content right now just following him around, wait until closer into this race, and see if he can put a slingshot on him.
Joseph, one thing that we have not seen a lot of in the last 3 or 4 years in this race is long green flag runs. You know, we have seen a lot of yellows, fortunately, and hope I'm not jinxing anybody, but let's hope that the single caution we saw for Kyle O'Gara's incident is the only one. That being the case, how much will the tires go away from the start of this race to lap 39 and 40?
Well, tremendously, and drivers haven't had to deal with that. I didn't have to deal with that in 2011. We had plenty of cautions to help us out. So these guys will start to struggle, but I hope it goes green as well, because I think you're going to see a fascinating finish here. You know, who's going to get the big run at the end? Could it be just Karam, or could Chavez do something from third? I think you'll see something spectacular if we go green all the way through.
But Chavez, it looks like he's got a good race car.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. You got to bide your time around this place. If you don't have the yellows coming up, you got to plan exactly what you want to do in the last lap. And I guarantee you, all 5 of these guys are already thinking about what they're going to do 1 laps to go on this race.
Yep. The teammates, when it comes to this point of the race, Joseph, how much do they work together? As Karam and Chavez, they are teammates, but are they working as teammates at this point, or are they simply individual drivers out there?
A lot of things go out the window specifically for this race. Now, if I was racing Esteban, say, in 2011 when we were running, we wouldn't even be looking at ourselves as teammates. The one thing you want to do with your teammates is you want to race them clean, you want to race them fair. But you're not going to necessarily rely on them out there. There's a lot of other guys in the mix. So at this point, I think it's a free-for-all. Everyone's out for themselves at this point.
Sage Karam pulling right up on the rear wing of Carlos Munoz, Davey, and I just don't think anyone can really understand what it's like to pull up that close to a car as you're topping out at nearly 190 miles an hour in these cars at the tail end of the back straight and the front straight here.
Unless you've done it, you for sure don't know, Mike, because what happens, your helmet gets light, you get lift on your helmet, there's no downforce on your car, and you even see it going to the corner sometimes, Sage's car, it's moving around a little bit because it's that dirty air where you see Carlos up front just stuck like glue, so it's a different feeling. You can smell the exhaust fumes, Mike. It's just a lot of movement in the car, but he has a good car right now, so he's enjoying it.
Carlos Munoz took over the lead as we completed lap number 14. He's been in front for 11 circuits. 15 remain here in the Freedom 100 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The Mazda Road to Indy. Onboard camera being carried by our leader, Carlos Munoz, at the Freedom 100. As we have soon to be 29 of 40 laps complete, along with Joseph Newgarden, who will start 25th in Sunday's Indianapolis 500, and 12-time Indy 500 veteran Davey Hamilton. I'm Mike King. On a gorgeous day at the Speedway, Zach Veach going to make a bid for fourth. Zach is in that purple and green car on the outside. Too wide is not always a good idea, but Davey, you can get it done here in these cars.
You can get it done here, Mike. And one thing with this racetrack, years ago they grooved it. They ground the track down to make it have just a little more grip. It's kind of wore out in the groove, but if you step out of that groove, that grinding is still there, so there is grip out there. But that's early in the race. If you start getting marbles and some debris up there, it gets slick, and that's where Joseph, in the Indy car, it's not as easy up there as it is in these cars. He did pull off the pass, but he did give it a run. But look how much space they lost between the first three guys.
Yeah, Peter Dempsey is not interested in giving up the position. Meantime, as the battle up front wages between our leader, Carlos Munoz, and our pole winner, Sage Karam. Gabby Chavez is in that white car with the red accents, the yellow on the rear wing, running third. By the way, Joseph, as you finished 16th in the final practice in the Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing Century 21 car, and you start 25th, we don't want to put any pressure on you, but our last two analysts for this race have done us proud by going to victory lane. The late great Dan Weldon did it in 2011. Of course, Dario was with us 1 year ago, so it's on you, pal, to keep the streak alive.
You had to bring it up. Well, if it's on me, then you know what? I'm looking to deliver. Hopefully it brings me a little bit of luck on Sunday.
If there's too much pressure, I'll just take your place.
So it would be an incredible streak, and as I mentioned to you, David, Tony Kanaan was asking if maybe he could come by the booth, so he wanted your spot.
This definitely was a high-valued seat for this year.
I guarantee you, if I do it, then everyone's going to be clawing to get up here.
Yeah, Brian Anakin, our producer, will be the most popular guy on the entire pit lane.
Everyone's going to want to buy him dinner. Let's hang out.
Well, we watch Sage Karam as he continues to draft the 26 car of Munoz. And guys, it's hard to know at this point who has the faster race car.
I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'm looking at Chavez, and there's a reason for it. I raced Chavez back in 2007 in Skip Barber for a full season, and he is one of the smartest drivers I have ever seen in a drafting situation. He knows exactly what's going on. He could pass these guys at any point, but he doesn't need to. He's been riding in third the whole time. I think he might be in the catbird seat at this point.
Only 19 years old, a rookie from Bogota, Colombia, having a pretty good run up to this point in the championship as he is fourth in points, back-to-back podiums at Barber and Long Beach. And Davey, he's just been kind of lurking back there.
Just lurking. I mean, those two front guys get so close to each other. As you can see, Karam right now pulling up on Carlos, almost touching. But as you say, in third-place car, Chavez is just kind of riding right there. He may have enough to, matter of fact, if the two leaders start fighting here at the end and get them side by side, they may have to do a lift. You'll get, and slow down a little bit, not to hit each other, and that could lead to go for Chavez as well.
Yep, okay, so Jimmy Simpson, as we talked about the situation with him as he spun before the start of this race right now, running in the 22 car, and right now Simpson is running 7th. This is the Purdue sophomore. This is the pace lap, guys, as he was warming up his tires. And it just hooks on him there, down there in one.
Little throttle and going slow like that, a little tire spin, and around it comes.
Well, he's +4 in his first ever Firestone Indy Lights event. What bigger stage to make a debut, than the Speedway, Joseph?
You know what? It might have helped him, to be honest with you. Get it out of the way early, and then it actually probably made him a little more cautious at the start, which has helped him. Patience in this race definitely pays off. And for one time out, never driven an Indy Lights car, never really driven much of the Mazda in the Indy, he's doing a great job.
Well, the 22, as we mentioned, that is Simpson. And right behind him, surprisingly, even though you can see the bend, there on the right front suspension of that car is Chase Austin, who Davey continues to soldier on right now as he is running in 8th place and still running pretty strong.
Pretty impressive, because you can visually see on your monitors that how bent that right front suspension is.
Look at that.
Which means the camber's not right, your toe's not right, and so it's definitely more of a handful than what it should be, but he's hanging in there, doing a pretty good job.
And actually fighting Simpson, Joseph, for the spot, so he's not letting the boogered up suspension bother him at all.
I'm surprised. You know, it's definitely going to hurt the handling of the car. It's difficult to deal with, but Chase is doing a great job with the thing.
Chase Austin here from Eudora, Kansas, as he races for the second time here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Freedom 100. As now, guys, laps begin to wind down. We're working lap 35. So Joseph, and here comes Chase to the outside. He's going to make a bid to get past Simpson. This is for position. This would be for 7th place. A good battle back in the pack.
He's not letting the suspension slow him down at all. And the car seems fine almost when you look at it.
And Davey, generally you see a kink in the suspension. That automatically means you're done.
Well, the good thing is he probably doesn't see that. From the angle that we sit in the car, you really can't see that suspension. We can just see the top of the tires. So he brushed the wall, he shook it off a little bit, see nothing was broken, went for it. So he has no idea probably that.
And let's not forget about Juan Pablo Garcia back there in the 2 car. He's watching these guys fight it out. I think he's looking for an opportunity as well.
Yeah, there's fights all over the racetrack, which makes it cool.
So the Team Moore guys right now as, let's see, Simpson runs 7th and Garcia runs 9th. And Chase Austin, he's going to try it again going into 3, but back up front. Guys with laps winding down, less than 4 to go now as they make their way through turn number 1. This has been an outstanding race from the start up front between Munoz and our pole sitter, Sage Cara.
And somebody disappeared on that top 5. Zach Veach, he was the 5th car in that run.
And he is now nowhere to be found.
Back. He's by himself in 5th place. Really no opportunity at this point to pull off the victory.
Well, and you know, we saw Veach brush the wall earlier during a break, so he might be struggling with a little bit of an issue himself.
Yeah, and you talked about tires going away a bit. If, in fact, he brushed the wall and is struggling with the tires late in the race, could be a double whammy.
It is a double negative. It's very, very difficult around this place. They've gone green for quite a long time, so maybe the tires are running off. But I'll tell you what, these guys up front, they've been pretty consistent up to this point.
Well, 37 laps are complete, 3 to go. This one's still a long way from being decided. And while the red cars up in front of Munoz and Karam battle it out, guys, you continue to think that Gabi Chavez in the white car there running 3rd may still have a shot at this thing.
Yeah, he's fallen back slightly, but that doesn't mean anything. That's slightly. He can make that up in this one straightaway. It's just those first 2 cars are so close and so competitive. I think Karam has the strongest car out there, but being stronger than the car in front of you and get by him, 2 different things.
This is a tough group, and you know what? I was talking about Chavez, but equally so, Karam is one of the best oval drivers I have ever seen in the junior ranks. He has kicked a lot of butt inside the Pro Mazda cars. He's very, very stout in ovals. He's a very smart driver, so it's going to be tough. Munoz, he's been so dominant. He's so good, and Karam's very smart in the ovals. And then you got Chavez, who's a thinker as well. This could be very interesting at the end.
2 to go as the leaders go into turn number 1. And you talk about Karam, he was 3rd in Star Mazda in the championship in 2012. He had 3 wins, and right now looking for the biggest of his career. But for Carlos Munoz, Davey, would love to run the win streak to 3 in the Firestone Indy Lights.
Well, he's going to have to work for it. I mean, he's done a great job. He got the lead. He's paced this field, Mike. But when it comes down to this white flag, who knows? He's not just going to sit behind him, I'll assure you.
This is the shuffle that you're seeing now, too. That what's going to happen, and you can't count out Peter Dempsey to put him in 4th. He could be a guy as well to win this thing.
Okay, white flag. This time, Chavez is going to pop to the outside, guys. What will be the strategy as Peter Dempsey in the red and white car will watch? Here comes Chavez on the outside.
He's going to wait. It looked like he was going to try and make it too wide, which could have put Karam in a tough position, but now he ducks back. And we'll go on to the backstretch in a second.
Carlos Munoz in the 26th. Dialyser entry out in front. Took over the lead on lap 14. Has led the last 25 laps. Here we go. Side by side. Head to 3.
Here's the move for Karam.
So here's Sage Karam. Now Chavez going to make it 3 wide to the outside, guys.
Woo! This is tight.
Oh, baby.
This is what people look
for.
for.
3. Oh, Karam and Munoz nearly touch. On the outside of 4, remaining 3 wide. Gabi Chavez. We're going to have a 3 wide shootout at the line. It's a drag race.
Who's got the momentum?
Here comes Dempsey. Dempsey's going to go 4 wide. It's going to be. Dempsey won it. Oh, Dempsey won it.
That was a 4 wide finish in Indy Lights.
Unbelievable. That is the craziest finish in history of anything, I think. Oh,
that's got to be the best finish ever at IMS.
4 wide at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and it's Peter Dempsey, the Irishman, who gets his first Firestone Indy Lights win by going to the outside 4 wide and winning it by, oh my gosh.
Unreal.
Oh, let's watch it again. That's incredible. got to be the greatest finish in the history of this Speedway as Dempsey, maybe by 4 inches.
That looks staged, Mike. Look how staged that picture looks. That's an actual race run to the finish.
Oh, my word. 26 thousandths of a second. The difference at the line as it is Dempsey who wins it. Chavez winds up second. Karam third, and Munoz, who was the 26 10,000ths.
Well, look at Munoz
Here's
here.
Mazda Road to Indy. Camera here. Watch this finish. Dempsey running fourth at this point. Doesn't look like he's got a prayer.
This is going into one.
This is the final lap. But Dempsey is
Look at him,
10 car lengths back.
And what did we talk about? We talked about the thinking game. That's what these guys could have passed at any point, but they didn't need to. They were thinking about the finish.
And here he is. Here we are through turn number 2. This is the final lap of the Freedom 100. And here's where Karam makes the move to the outside and where the fun begins, guys.
And look, he had such a run, but look at Chavez. He has a run as well. Sneaks in that third group, and he's staying with it, boy.
Okay, now at this point, I'm thinking, guys, be careful. Guys, be careful. And it looked like Karam and Munoz may have made light contact, right? But they did. They came so close. And then here's the run down the front straight. Where did Dempsey come from? All the way on the outside.
Look at that.
Dempsey timed it perfect. He couldn't have done it better.
And by the way, that's the only lap he led. He
Yeah.
led 4 inches in this race. And that would be the right
That's
4
right.
inches.
Yeah. So, 26 10,000ths of a second. Wade Cunningham beat J.R. Hildebrand by 1/10 of a second here, and Jaime Camara beat Cunningham by 1300ths. Man, that looks like those finishes look like runaways compared to this. Jake Query, what a race we just saw unfold here.
I can't speak for Cannonball Baker or any of the races that took place in the first decade of this great facility, but under a green flag, Peter Dempsey had to have just won the closest finish in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in any form of motorsports that have taken place here. The young man from Ireland, and you talked about it, what a circuitous route it took to get to this point. He has waited at different points, wondering if a ride would come about. Finally, he got a lifeline in his career from Brian Bellardi at the end of last year and knew this year was the year he would have a full-time ride, and now he has a Freedom 100 and a win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway under his belt. Peter Dempsey is about to get out of the car and welcome himself as the fans acknowledge him to Victory Circle at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What a moment for him, and we'll move in to get a word with this young man and an incredible, breathtaking finish. Peter Dempsey, young man, congratulations. Welcome to Victory Lane at Indianapolis, Indiana.
I'm lost for words there. I was confident from the test. You know, we really had a fantastic car here at the test. We ran in no traffic this week, and my voice is even gone. There's some bits in the car, but I owe my team, Bellardi Auto Racing, everyone involved, from Elliot, the truck driver, Dooman, who polishes our beautiful chrome wheels, to my two mechanics, Mikey, Chad, Ross, the gearbox guy, Tommy, Jill, and Credentials, and you know, got to thank my sponsors too, Slick Lock, Liberty Engineering, OMP, Bell, and even had some help this weekend from BTIndy.com, and also my girlfriend's grandparents chipped in a set of tires. So what a finish though. I mean, that's what the fans come out to see is close finishes, and
we take a look at it now. Now here's what's interesting. You've always been knocked as impatient. You were patient until the right moment.
I'm not going to complain. The beers are on me tonight. That's awesome finish, you know. That's what the fans want to see, and to see a four-wide finish, you know, it's a perfect way to finish the Indy Lights race here at Indianapolis, and you know, get the fans on our side, get some more support, get some more cars in the field.
Now be honest, was that a strategy, or did you simply see a seam and think, you know what, I've got to go for it?
Stephen Wilson was my spotter, and he said be patient, they're going to spread out into the last coming out of 3 and 4, and we were out of gear the whole race. I was just sitting there, and it was the loosest car I've ever had to drive in my life, and we were drifting around the corners, but when they pulled out wide, I could feel the suck up, and I just hoped that I didn't hit the limiter too hard in 6th, and we got it by a whisker, so happy days.
I'll call that the skill of the Irish.
Yeah, the look of the Irish, the skill of the Irish, but it's definitely with me today. I had my lucky boxers on as well, so hopefully that made a difference.
Celebrate.
Thank you very much.
Peter Dempsey has won the Freedom 100 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.